What is up, everybody? It is your host, Real American Politics, back again with a new video. And today, we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 very early presidential prediction. Now, people are saying that, oh, well, Blumph lost, so it doesn't really matter. Well, based on some developments with the courts, and the fact of the matter is we have multiple slates of electors being sent in Arizona, Nevada, etc., it's a long shot to an extent, but Trump can still technically win this. I'm not saying he will, not saying it's 100% that Trump's going to win this election, but I am saying that it is still a reasonable chance he could still win. Not saying it's 100%, not saying it's like 50%. It's still a chance. We got to see how the Wisconsin Supreme Court rules, and this video was made before the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So we got Gavin Newsom versus Ron DeSantis. These are the two candidates I think are favored to win their nominations in 2024. Gavin Newsom is not liked, but compared to the rest of the candidates, I think he's going to win on a fluke. He's going to win the nomination on a total fluke. Ron DeSantis, he's the closest one we got to a Republican that's mostly America first, right? So DeSantis is really the best Republican they could run outside of maybe Ted Cruz. So yes, it's a very interesting election, to say the least, that we have Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. So now, this is a very interesting scenario between Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom. Ron DeSantis, I believe, would do a little bit worse with white working class voters, but do significantly better with the establishment Republican voters. You would see like Waukesha County, Wisconsin, the Texas Dallas suburbs, etc. And I would see him do a little bit better than Trump with Latinos. That's right, I think he would do a lot better with Latinos in some areas, do a little bit better than Latinos in some areas, etc. So let's get right to the prediction. The safe Republican states are the following: Alaska, Utah, the Great Plains, all of Nebraska except Nebraska second, Kansas, Oklahoma, not going to put Texas, but we'll get to that in a second. Iowa in this scenario I think would be safe. A lot of the establishment voters in Iowa, you would see in, like, Dallas County, I do think would swing towards Republicans without Donald Trump on the ballot. Like, you go here to Polk in Dallas County, I do think these would swing a little bit Republican, and I do think it would be enough to push it to a safe margin. Missouri is safe, Arkansas, Louisiana, the Deep South, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, the swing state of Ohio. It's a safe state now. Like, based on these swings, you get someone like Ron DeSantis, who maybe would do a little bit worse in this part of the state, maybe like a point or two worse. He would do significantly better in Butler County, Warren County, Clermont County, Delaware County. So it's a safe state with Ron DeSantis as the presidential candidate. It may seem insane, but it's based on results we saw in 2018, where he did a little bit better than Trump in some parts of the state, Florida. And Maine second, I think, will be safe. Maybe, likely, but I do think it would be safe in this scenario. For the Democrats, the safe states would be the following: California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Illinois, the Northeast, the swamp, of course, and not New Hampshire. That's not New Hampshire. The state of New York, Maine's first, and there we go. These are the safe states from both candidates. So now we gotta go to the likely Republican states, and there will be one, the state of Texas. Now, people might be saying, oh, well, Texas is gone, it's swung 5 points or 3-4 points Republican. But something interesting happened to the southern part of the state. You saw these swings of 38 points, 55 points, 23, 46, right, in the southern part of the state. And you may see DeSantis do even a little bit better than Trump with a lot of these southern voters, who a lot of them may have been turned off by who Trump really is, right? Trump himself hurts him. So you could see him doing a little bit better in the southern part of the state. And in fact, I do see DeSantis being able to swing back a little bit of Collin County, Denton County, Kaufman, Ellis, Tarrant County. The reason for this is a lot of these voters in suburban counties really don't like Trump because of Trump. Again, it's kind of the southern Texas voter. They don't like Trump because, well, Trump. If you run someone like DeSantis, was very similar on a lot of policies as Trump, well, you could see a lot of these counties swing back Republican. Same thing in the Houston area, so that's why I think it's a likely Republican state. So yeah, Trump may have saved the GOP in Texas with these swings in southern Texas. So we don't have to worry about Texas for at least 2 or 3 election cycles, in my opinion. So yes, that's the only likely Republican states. The likely Democrat states, I believe, would be Colorado, Virginia, and Maine at large. Virginia, while it did swing heavily toward the Democrats by around 5 points, a lot of these swings, again, a lot of these voters, they don't like Trump because of Trump, alright? So I do think, like, especially around the Richmond area, you could see DeSantis improving a couple points. Same thing goes with Colorado, with the Denver suburbs. These states are kind of gone, but they're not really completely, like, safe Democrat states. Someone like DeSantis, I think, would do a little bit better, just enough to swing them back to likely margins, but not to make them competitive. Now we got the lean states, and this is a very, very disgusting map that's about to happen. Arizona, Florida, Georgia, and the state of North Carolina, and there'll be one more, but these are the lean Republican states. Now you may think I'm crazy for putting Georgia lean Republican. Look at the Atlanta swings, you say. Just look at them. Well, you take out the bullshit that happened in Atlanta, which it did happen, by the way. Trump did win Georgia this election. The mail-in votes were a complete mess here. You take out the mysterious votes that came out of the blue. You take into account how they stopped counting. Trump won Georgia by, I believe, 2 to 3 points. Maybe a bit too nice. But even then, with DeSantis on the ballot, you're not going to see these swings like 15 more points Democrat. You would think probably a county like Gwinnett County may swing like even 2-3 points Republican. You apply that to the rest of the Atlanta suburbs. It may not seem like a lot, but that pushes Georgia to a lean Republican state. For Florida, Miami-Dade. Like, I highly doubt that you're going to see Florida become like that main competitive state. I do think that Florida has now kind of become the lean R state. It's trending more and more Republican. But if DeSantis can make even better gains in this part of the state with Latinos, he could keep swinging it more and more Republican. And again, you have Jacksonville, but again, a lot of these counties, like St. Johns County, I think that DeSantis would do maybe a little bit worse than Trump, if not maybe a half point better. So it's kind of just Jacksonville itself, Duval County, will continue swinging a little bit Democrat over the years, but not to an extent of 15-point swings. Same thing goes with Hillsborough. You're going to see it probably swing like a half a point Democrat, but nothing like it did. So really, the southern gains alone would keep it lean Republican. Now Arizona. This is a controversial one. But you look at the Latino vote, especially in the southern part of the state. Santa Cruz, Pima, Coquise County. I know I'm butchering these names. But a lot of these counties, they may not have the most votes, but if you just swing Pima County 2, 3, 4 points Republican, same thing Coquise County, I know I'm butchering the name, just a couple points Republican, and do a little bit better in Maricopa, right? Because you're going to do better in Maricopa than Trump did. Anybody would do better than Trump did in Maricopa County. That alone pushes it to around a 1.5 point win for Trump, or Republicans. Again, it's mostly because the Phoenix suburbs, they just don't like Trump. But someone like DeSantis, who is level-headed compared to Trump, would do a lot better, I think, than Trump in Arizona. It's kind of a weird situation, but that's my opinion. And also, you got Gavin Newsom as the candidate. And a lot of the California insects moving to Arizona, they don't like Newsom. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But again, I said there's one more lean Republican state. The state of Wisconsin. This is my home state, and I gotta say this. Waukesha, Ozaukee, Washington. These would swing instantly back to a 65-point win for DeSantis. A 70%. Almost 60%. This alone would push state to a lean margin. And I highly doubt that he would do worse than Trump in Milwaukee, Dane County. You could see him do better in Oshkosh, Kelmont, etc. So that alone would push it to a lean margin. It may seem crazy, but that's what it just is. So now these are the lean Republican states. The lean Democrat states, I believe, would be New Mexico. I'll talk about that in a second. Minnesota. We'll talk about that in a second. And I do think the state of New Hampshire. These 3 states, I think, would be lean Democrat. Now, I may seem crazy for New Mexico, which I probably am, but Trump only lost by 11. And really, a lot of these swings came in the Albuquerque area. And this is where a heavy Latino population is. DeSantis, I think, would do significantly better with these voters. They're more your established and Latino voters. While the Southern voters are more populist economically, the Albuquerque voters are more left-wing. Well, not more so left-wing, they're just more establishment. And again, they don't like Trump's rhetoric at all. So if you run something like DeSantis, that would swing it heavily Republican. But it would probably be like a 4.5-point win for Gavin Newsom, nothing less. Probably a 6-point win in reality. But these are the lean Democrat states. Minnesota, New Hampshire. Minnesota, I think, just swung too heavy Democrat for it to be outside the lean victory. Same thing in New Hampshire. I think something happened in those 2 states, but it's really, I don't think it's enough to push outside of the lean margin. So now we got 3 states in 1 district to go, and we're going to go coast to coast. The state of Nevada, I do think Nevada would go to DeSantis. Trump made improvements in Clark County. You just need to improve in Washoe County, and a lot of these more Carson City, Churchill County, Douglas County, etc. Which these are the type of voters which I think would do better under DeSantis than Trump. Same things with, like, you see in Arizona. I think these are the voters where they are more the California insects. They move to Reno. I do think that alone will probably push Nevada to a tilt margin. Mostly because people don't like Gavin Newsom. That's just straight up what it is. California voters that move out of their state, usually their approval rating for Gavin Newsom's pretty freaking low. So that alone, I think, would push Nevada to that tilt margin. Nebraska's second. I think Newsom would win that. That's one of those districts that I think are trending a bit too Democrat for the Republicans to win that. Unless you could gerrymander it to make it more Republican, which I highly doubt. The biggest thing is Omaha. I think it'll be a lot closer, but I do think that's becoming more of a Democrat stronghold, I guess you could say. Now, for the states of Michigan and Pennsylvania, I do think Newsom would win Michigan, but I do think DeSantis would win Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, the very interesting thing is, you got the Philly suburbs. This is what, quote-unquote, Trump lost with. Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery, Bucks. These are the counties where I think DeSantis would swing, especially Chester County, Delaware County. I think these are counties where DeSantis, I should say, would swing heavily Republican. Again, a lot of these voters, like you see in Texas, they don't like Trump because he's Trump. Orange man bad. Trump derangement syndrome. Now, that doesn't excuse the random turnout, but that's just what it is. A lot of these voters don't like Trump for who he is, so I do think that alone would push a Republican. But also, a lot of these voters, they only voted for Joe Biden because from Pennsylvania garbage, which he isn't, by the way. He lived in Delaware for his entire life. He was born in Scranton for like a year and left. So that alone, I think that Pennsylvania would flip the Republicans. And there we go. This is what I do think a Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom prediction would look like. The very interesting states to look at would definitely be Wisconsin, New Mexico, Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, etc. I think these would be the main competitive states from New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are the main competitive states. And I'm going to be making a video on New Mexico because interesting developments are happening there. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and join the channel. You get some cool perks if you join. And yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.